This month on The Card Life, presented by Loupe.
I wanted a hook, so I figured, let's make it a big goal. Let's go for 1 million Cubs cards.
And then I actually have a couple of modern cards. The blue refractor.
Whatever they look like, whatever their family's like, you know, whatever it is, we're all different somehow or another, and that's awesome.
Welcome to The Card Life, presented by Loupe. I'm Matt Strahm, Padres pitcher, coming at you from San Diego. This month we do a hobby sweep across the state of Wisconsin. Whether it's Packers, Bucks, Brew Crew, or Wisconsin football, passionate fan bases are a staple of the Badger State. That passion carries over to the sports card hobby, and you'll hear all about it on this month's episode. No card shop this time. This month we're going old school. Stevens Point, Wisconsin is home to a living relic of sports card history. In 1970, Larry Fritsch became the first person in the world to sell cards full-time out of his home. He quickly grew out of that space, and Larry Fritsch cards remain a fixture to this day. Larry was a trendsetter in more ways than one. He was the first dealer to grade cards and the first to develop his own superstar cards. Today, his grandson Jeremy leads the business.
My grandfather, he started his hobby dealings when he was just a kid in the 40s and progressively started selling cards and shipping them all around the country, and eventually it became a big enough thing where he could go full-time with it starting May 1st, 1970. It's our 51st year of full-time business. Obviously, it used to be all based on the print catalog, getting into people's hands and them sending stuff via the mail or calling into us and ordering things, and things have really shifted obviously towards you have to have a presence online, you have to have an eBay store and list a lot of stuff there, but we do still do a lot of business with people mailing in checks even, or calling us and ordering things over the phone, and it's still a fairly significant part of our business. You can see behind me, it's all single cards from the 1960s. We can't list all of those online, so we have people call or send us letters in the mail and send checks and money orders, and it's pretty old school, but it's still something that follows to this day.
This month, I have the entire 132-page catalog, and I'm going to order cards like they used to. Ooh, uncut sheet. We have a really cool uncut sheet of, it's like a Kmart baseball card set in our clubhouse that our clubby has a huge frame of uncut cards. It's really cool. They got some old stuff. There you go. I have plenty of these cards at home. Michael Jordan. My brother and I bought a personal collection off a guy about a year before his documentary came out, and there's probably 2 shoe boxes full of Michael Jordan in this guy's personal collection that is now in my personal collection. I've made my selection and my order form is off to Wisconsin. We'll break what I ordered later in the show. When we come back on The Card Life, one collector's quest for 1 million cards of his beloved Cubbies. Card Collecting 101 is brought to you by Loupe. The topic, parallel cards. In the old days, card companies would release one set of cards, all with the same photo and design for the set that year. Now, nearly every set includes parallel cards. These cards might have a different color, a different surface, a different name, or even a different photo on the card. Some are numbered on the card, making it easy to identify. Others require a close look or even a close examination of the serial number in the fine print on back. Generally, parallel cards hold more value because less are produced than their generic partners. Might have gone a little overboard buying cards during spring training this year, but lucky for my wife, I'm still way short of 1 million cards in my collection. In Verona, Wisconsin, Beau Thompson is on a quest not just for 1 million total cards, but a cool mill of cardboard from his beloved Cubs.
I'm Beau Thompson, and I have the 1 Million Cubs project. My goal is to collect 1 million Chicago Cubs baseball cards. I grew up in the late 80s, so it was right at the height of the baseball card boom. But the set that really kind of stoked the fire was 1989 Topps Baseball. And my mom sent away so many UPC codes from a cereal, and I received a Cubs team set, and that's where it all started. December 2017, it just kind of came to me. I wanted to trade 1 million of my cards that I had acquired in buying collections and just picking up randomly. And I wanted a hook, so I figured let's make it a big goal. And I had 1 million total trading cards. Let's go for 1 million Cubs cards. The biggest mail day, my wife and I came back from our honeymoon, and this is how understanding she is. There was a tote of 17 packages on the porch from our honeymoon. Shortly after that, I was advised to rent a P.O. box. So all of the mail gets funneled through the post office, and it didn't take long for my local post office employees to know I'm the baseball card guy, and so they know as soon as I walk in that they're gonna go pick up a big box of baseball cards out of the back. My average through the year is about 350 Cubs cards per day in the mail. So this package actually just came, and people ask me, you have 585,000 Cubs cards, how did you count them all? Well, I get 350 a day, so I only have to count 385 times per day. It's not like I'm counting 585,000 every day. This is from Ken in Ventura, California, and we've done multiple trades. We've traded so often that he sends some cards, I'll send some cards back. You know, you got the Haack, Andre Dawson. He was a favorite. You know, Greg Maddux. Sean Dunston, of course, the Sean-o-meter. That's where the whole Cubs cardometer completely ripped off the Sean-o-meter that was in the Wrigley Field bleachers, you know, with his daily batting average. So, love Sean Dunston stuff. This is all
One of the biggest questions Beau gets, are they organized?
Not one bit organized. That's one of the toughest parts of this, is that so many cards come in and I just stuff them in a box. But I enjoy it, and it's almost better that I can find these hidden treasures in an unorganized chaos. But some point, maybe once I hit 1 million, I'll go back and I'll start organizing.
And of course, which are his favorites?
My favorite from a sentimental standpoint is a 1990 score, Earl Cunningham, autographed in blue Sharpie, because my very first autograph was Earl Cunningham when he was a top prospect playing for the Peoria Chiefs. It was at a small card show in Kewanee, Illinois. My oldest card is from 1887. It's an old Judge, Duke Farrell. And then I think from my favorite player is Javi Baez. I worked a summer for the Peoria Chiefs when he came up, and I have a 2010 Bowman Aflac autograph from when he was in high school. My goal for the end of 2021 is 700,000. So on that trajectory, and I should hit that with a couple big bulk trades this summer that are going down. So probably by the end of 2023 is the target, but it's actually now, it's so fun meeting people and the journey. I'm living the journey day by day, and I almost don't want it to end. I want to hit 1 million Cubs cards, but I don't want to stop meeting all these cool people within the hobby that help the cause. Turned another number, 58683.
Up next, a chat with Brian Marcy, who is in his 32nd year in the sports card business.
Tired of paying 10%, 15%, or more to sell your cards, comics, and digital collectibles? How does 1% sound? Too good to be true? Well, not anymore. MySlabs.com is the web's premier user-driven marketplace for buying and selling slabbed cards, sealed wax, and now slab comics and digital collectibles. So the next time you're forced to pay 10% or more to sell something from your collection, head over to MySlabs.com and join the 1% revolution.
Our Our next guest is not headquartered in Wisconsin, but he's purchased card collections from there and many more places over the last 32 years. In Scottsdale, Arizona, we caught Brian Marcy of Scottsdale Cards in the middle of a move to a new location.
We have about 20 million cards in stock right now.
Marcy's business is taking buying trips across the country to purchase card collections.
We're there for 2 days, and people just come in and they bring their stuff. And about half of what walks in the door is, we'll get like a partial $90 VG set.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't give you $1 for it
Right.
unless you looked like you needed $1 for a cup of coffee or something.
Yeah.
And we politely tell them, it's not what we're looking for. Thanks for coming to our event.
Yeah.
We purchase probably 80% of what comes in that is what we're looking for.
Okay.
The other 20% is usually they aren't ready to sell, or they had no idea what it was worth, and they don't know if the offer is fair or not fair. They wanted to get an evaluation. And a lot of times I get a call later and we get those deals finished.
Gotcha. In his office, Marcy shared some of the current favorites in his collection.
This just came back from PSA yesterday. Mantle and a 7. This is some stuff we picked up in the last couple months. Autographed Jackie Robinson, 54 tops.
Oh my goodness.
Mantle and a 53 Mantle and a 6. It's miscut, but it's still got a decent eye appeal. And then I actually have a couple of modern cards. Some guy.
Just a few, huh?
The blue refractor.
Oh my God. That is unbelievable.
And then the Bowman Sterling refractor auto. Those are pretty cool. I haven't come to part with the blue refractor yet.
I don't think you should. This one is, yeah. That one's got me speechless.
It's just been sitting in the safe. I like it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful card.
That's what happens with some of this stuff is like I like it, and
that's what it's all about.
I'll hold on to it until a while, and then I'll get bored with it and sell it.
Yeah.
Because when you buy and sell stuff all day,
yeah,
you know that you can always get stuff again. Like
Right.
This is my 3rd Johnny Bench in a 9.
But there's only 150 of these.
That one's tough.
Yeah,
That one's tough.
As a person that makes a living scanning and making offers on collections, who better to give advice on where to look in your own boxes for some value?
Generally, anything 1969 and older has decent value in any sport or non-sport cards. They made non-sport cards also. So once you have that, you have something that's worthwhile. Condition is the determining factor on price.
Okay.
So depending on the condition, like you made a point on the Hank Aaron that has a hole in it. Well, obviously that card with a hole in it's probably a $50 card,
Right.
but there's someone out there that's happy to have it. And there's collectors for every condition, so there's a budget for everyone. When you start getting into the 70s, unless you have complete sets or the key rookie cards or some of the bigger Hall of Famers from the early 70s, a lot of that doesn't have a ton of value because the 70s is still pretty plentiful and there's still a lot of people that kept it.
Right.
When you get to the 80s and 90s, it's just a handful of key rookie cards that are really valuable.
And is there any point for you to be penny sleeving these and all that, or?
It will. What we do is we break everything down to where it's raw like this. And then once we get it raw, we get it sorted. And then once we get it sorted, we scan it. We have a nice high-speed scanner. It scans 40 cards a minute is what it does.
Okay.
Front and back, very high resolution. You can zoom in, you can see print dots and stuff. It's that clean.
Dang.
And it's very efficient. So after we get the card scanned, we enter them into a spreadsheet, and then our software puts it on Amazon, eBay, and our website for us and
just
manages
uploads it for you.
It puts it on all 3 platforms, and it manages it. So if it sells on one, it removes it from the other 2.
Huh. I'm holding over $50,000 in cards in my hand. I'll set those down nicely. That's unreal. Coming up on the Card Life, presented by Loupe, my box has arrived from Larry Fritsch Sports Cards. Let's see what I pull.
The Slab of the Month is brought to you by MySlabs.com. This 2016 Bowman Chrome Fernando Tatis Jr. Gold Refractor Prospect Auto sold for $42,000 on MySlabs.com, with the seller paying just $420 in commission. MySlabs.com, home of the 1% seller's commission.
Tired of paying 10%, 15%, or more to sell your cards, comics, and digital collectibles? How does 1% sound? Too good to be true? Well, not anymore. MySlabs.com is the web's premier user-driven marketplace for buying and selling slabbed cards, sealed wax, and now slabbed comics and digital collectibles. So the next time you're forced to pay 10% or more to sell something from your collection, head over to MySlabs.com and join the 1% revolution.
This is for every girl who hears people say she won't make it, but refuses to listen. For every girl who thinks not about what she has to lose, but about what she has to gain. This is for every girl who doesn't look like everyone who's come before, but may look like those who will follow. This is for every diamond in the sky. This is for every girl.
In both racing and investing, winning demands consistency. Lap after lap after lap. Gainbridge offers intuitive annuity products within an innovative digital platform to help you protect and grow your money, empowering you to save with confidence. Gainbridge, proud sponsor of the Indianapolis 500.
It's time for another Card Collecting 101 presented by Loupe. Two hobby terms in this edition. First, PC. PC stands for personal collection and is typically what player or team a collector focuses on. Term 2, raw. A raw card is any card that isn't in a graded slab or case. Loupe, like a card show in your pocket, whether you're looking for PC, raw, or graded cards. All right, guys, we got our box here from Larry Fritsch Sports Cards, and also today we will get into a Father's Day Panini pack. It was my first Father's Day, so no better way to celebrate than get into one of these and see what we get. Soccer player, David Beckham, numbered to 199. That can't be a bad one. It's probably about one of the two soccer players I know. And then, hey, Trevor Lawrence rookie card. So hey, not a bad Father's Day pack to start there. Most of this order is going to be cards of my childhood from around probably when I was 12 years old. 2003 Bowman with 2003 NFL. I grew up a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, believe it or not. In North Dakota. No idea how. My dad watched them. Hey, there we go. Brett Favre insert. That's kind of dope. That's really cool. Here we go. Derek Brooks. That was one of my dad's favorite players, actually. There you go. Can send that to him for Father's Day. Urlacher with the silver Brady, though. That's kind of cool. Now we got Bowman 2003. Again, just back to my childhood, ripping all the childhood names. Then we got Darren Erstead. There we go. North Dakota boy. Kevin Youkilis, first year player card. That's kind of cool. There's an Albert Pujols. Bartolo Colon. He has not changed. Big sexy. See the gold on there? That's kind of cool how they did Bowman first year versus like just the Bowman. Shane Victorino first year player card, the Flying Hawaiian. This is really cool. That's a cool card for my collection. Andy Pettit, this was one of my favorite guys to watch throw growing up. I attached myself to him, Cliff Lee, and then Johan Santana. I loved watching those three throw. Welcome back to the Card Life presented by Loupe. Let's head back to Verona, Wisconsin. We're just 7 miles from the 1 Million Cubs project. Another hobbyist is on a quest of his own.
Hey, I'm Ryan Haack. You might know me on Twitter at Ripping One Handed or at Living One Handed. At Ripping One Handed is where I do all my hobby stuff. I remember the first pack of cards that I ever got was in 1987. I was at a Madison Muskies minor league baseball game with my dad, and I remember they had one of those rack packs that you could see through, and you could see that wooden border coming through. And I remember Jose Canseco actually was in town. That was the earliest that I can remember actually collecting cards, and I did that through high school, really. Kind of dropped off after that, and then I got back into it before COVID happened. I was getting back into it, and then really got back in when so many other people got in, when we all had nothing else to do. Right?
It's the very first one I've ever pulled.
I'm not exactly sure what my main PC is. Like, I like the Brewers and the Packers and the Bucks, like Wisconsin sports, but I don't collect a ton of them. I have a lot of Robin Yount, he's one of my favorites. But the ones that really, for me, that hold a lot of value have stories behind them. And so I have some cards that belong to my dad, who I lost in 2014, and they're not extremely valuable, but they're memories to me. I have a Star Wars card, actually, that I pulled that's a numbered. It's like 1 of 10, and the card is literally called Luke Gets a New Hand. And it just was, I was like, unbelievable. The universe has conspired to give me the greatest Star Wars card I could get. And like, that one will never leave my collection. I put this up online, me pulling it, and my reaction, and Mark Hamill actually did reply on Twitter to it and said it was awesome. I was born with one hand. They don't know why. It was a surprise to everyone. Nobody knew I was going to be born this way. But I was healthy, and they sent me home, and I just lived my life. It really was something that never bothered me. It wasn't something that I thought about a lot. I joke about it quite a bit. And then later on, I'm actually looking at the Culver's restaurant right now that I was sitting in when this woman and her son walked in, and her little boy actually had an arm just like mine. And I didn't, pursue anything, but she followed me as I was leaving and kind of presented us to each other. It was like, well, you're kind of the same, right? And I just wanted to say to her, like, everything's gonna be fine. You have nothing to worry about. I'm sure he's gonna be great. And he is. He's in college now. We're still friends. Luke is awesome. But it really, it sparked something in me to say, how can I help families especially who maybe are in a position that I was in, but think about it or have a different experience than I did. And so it was at that point I started a website, livingonehanded.com. Started making videos about how I do things with one hand, and they're kind of funny, and just to show parents, especially of kids who have one hand, it can be done. Like, there's a way to do it, and kind of give them this hope and make it like, oh, it's not going to be that big of a deal. And I go into schools all around the country and just talk to kids about how being different is awesome, and how when we embrace that in ourselves, we can then treat other people that way. Whatever they look like, whatever their family's like, whatever it is, we're all different somehow or another, and that's awesome. And then I wrote a book. My brother Joey, his teacher told him to bring something cool for show and tell, and so he brought me, not to it, I was what he brought for show and tell. And he just kind of sat me in front of the class and said, this is my brother, he has one hand. That's it, there you go. And so the kids asked me some questions about how I did things, and it devolved very quickly into, what's my favorite movie and that sort of thing. So Different is Awesome, this is the book that I wrote, and it just kind of retells that story. Little brother brings his older brother to class, they all get to ask him questions, and throughout the story, you realize that each of the kids who are asking him questions, that there's something different about them as well. Because the truth is that we're all different in some way or another. Some of us, you can see it very easily. Some of us, you can't, right? But the point of it is that we are all different, and those differences are what make us awesome. And so not to be afraid of it, but to embrace it and to celebrate it. So that's what it's all about for me.
That's it for the Card Life this month. I'm Matt Strahm, and we'll see you next time on the Card Life, presented by Loupe.